My name is Holly, and I'm the founder of Nova Ridge Bookkeeping, and I am so excited to introduce Irindeep Badial. Irindeep is the Executive Director of BNI Ontario Southwest, where she helps support existing members and assists individuals in establishing new BNI chapters. Erin's first experience with BNI was when she was invited to visit a chapter to see what BNI was all about. At that time, she was also volunteering on a 20,000 square foot construction project. As a result of the great connection she made, the chapter members were able to help her with many aspects of the build and helped bring the project to completion. You can often find Irindeep enjoying the outdoors as she continues with her hashtag Keep Moving Streak. Ooh, I'm interested to learn more about that. Irindeep's burning desire is to swim in an ocean at least once per year. That's a great goal. And something no one knows about her, she comes from a family of farmers stretching back over 8 generations. She keeps the tradition alive by helping in the fields and on the tractor whenever she visits her family in India. Irindeep's key to success is always self-reflecting to improve and being purposeful and intentional at chasing her goals. So if you know what the goals profile is, Irindeep has nailed it here. So join me in welcoming Irindeep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It is great to be here and presenting today. It's great to see some familiar faces, and I really appreciate that introduction. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about being strategic when it comes to your social media plan for your business, determining who to connect with and how to connect with them. So we'll go over a little bit of both today so that you're able to identify exactly who it would be for you to benefit with. Because when it comes to considering who you would like to align your personal business with, that often involves like-minded individuals and starting conversations with them who can continue to or even begin to start to forge long relationships. That's really important for all of our businesses. So when it comes to your BNI chapter, focusing on inviting individuals who can support others and ultimately support your own business growth as well as their business growth will lead to success for everyone. So I am going to start our conversation today with a little bit of a discussion about power teams and how to identify who to align yourself with. You will be able, by the end of our session, to focus in on who your target market is, and we'll come up with a list of businesses for yourself that it would make sense for you to align with to have on your power teams, and what to do once you've determined specifically who those businesses are. When it comes to leveraging social media and prospecting for BNI, it really is one and the same as prospecting for your business. As you prospect for your business, you're prospecting for BNI. As you prospect for BNI, you're doing the same for your business. You're actively looking to align yourself with individuals who can support the overall growth of your business and whose business growth you can also support. So you can work closely with those individuals. So when it comes to prospecting, my recommendation is to approach it from the viewpoint of aligning yourself with your potential power team members. This will allow you to continually support one another's businesses. So that does beg the question, what is a power team? So I just want to do a quick check-in to ensure that we're all on the same page when it comes to defining what a power team is. So we know that power teams are groups of professionals within BNI who work closely together, that aren't in competing fields, and whose business relationships can really prosper together so we can refer easily to one another. The biggest difference between a contact sphere and a power team within BNI is that active referral relationship. So we're actively looking to bring each other into the conversation. For example, if we have an electrician in our chapter, they go in, do their magic, they break down a couple walls, fix some wiring. Well, guess what? Those walls need to be repaired somehow. So that's when our drywall expert in the chapter comes into the conversation, and they're able to assist in that same transaction. But after the drywalling's done, we typically need to decorate. And so let's paint the wall. But before we can even get to painting the wall, we should probably bring in the interior designer to have a conversation there. That's just one example of a trades power team where when one individual goes into a conversation, multiple referral opportunities do crop up from that. And that's the beauty of aligning yourself with those like-minded individuals so you can support one another. Here's one of the great things about how power teams can support you and your business. There's a couple of really great reasons. I do just want to touch on a few of them. One of those is talent collaboration. You really get to align yourself with the experts in your field. So once you identify who it is, we'll talk a little bit about how to start the conversations with them. You really get to develop out your contact spheres. And we get to the point where some of our power teams even start to market together and pitch for business together. Some of our chapters do have really strong power teams, even within the room right now, really strong power teams where you will pitch for business together and let your chapter know the types of referrals that you're looking for as a collective. And that's really building upon that collaboration that we have within our chapters. Other great benefits to having strong power teams is you really do have a support group. Right? So we have all experienced a lot over the past year, needless to say. There have been a lot of ups and downs. And it's really, I find it comforting to know within BNI and particularly within your power teams, you have individuals who you can lean on and say, hey, I need someone to talk to. I need some expert advice. What's your recommendation on X, Y, Z? Your power team really does become your sounding board, and those individuals that you can really align with to have conversations and to really prosper in each other's businesses by supporting one another that way. So let's take a look at a sample power team to see how the dynamics work. I talked a little bit about the trades. We can also do the same for any of the businesses that we have in the room right now. So I want you to think about what your own business is and who's on your power team. For example, if you are if we look at our marketing and events power team, we may need, if we have a really big corporate event coming up that a company wants to plan, we'll probably need some sort of digital marketing to promote that. So a digital marketer would make sense on that sort of power team conversation. We'll probably also need some graphics designed in order to promote through digital media. So it would make sense to have a graphic designer on that power team. We would probably also need somebody to capture videos for promo for that major event that we're planning. So aligning ourselves with businesses that can help us support what the ultimate client is and the target markets that we're looking for. All of this, though, kind of comes back to one question that I often get. Why? Why do power teams matter? Why does it matter for me to be able to strengthen my power team around me? And the answer to that really is, this is really fantastic, the stats that we have as an organization. What we know is that 66% of your BNI business will come from your power team. So it makes absolute sense to be strategic about who you're having conversations with, how to align with them, and how to align yourself with those individuals so you can be strategic about the businesses that you support and who also in turn support you. So the question then goes from why to why not, particularly when you know that 66% of your BNI business is going to come from your power team. So on the note of power teams, for any of our existing BNI members in the room, there are some fantastic modules on BNI University, BNI Business Builder, that will help you with this. Developing successful power teams is a really fantastic module to dive deeper into that conversation. Any of our conversations about power teams do also need to include a little bit of a discussion about target markets. Excuse me. So on BNI Business Builder, there is a module that helps you dive deeper into identifying your target markets, because that will help you in continuing that conversation. As you learn more about who your target market is, this module will give you some information on why it's essential to align with those individuals. But we all know, for our members in the room, we all know that aligning yourself with our target markets allows you to build that strong support team around you. So every week when you get to your BNI meeting, you've got that friendly group of smiling faces looking at you to support your business. In other words, your power team, when you start to build your power team and you're inviting to support businesses on your power team, it's leading to your own business success as well as the success of others. So let's chat a little bit about identifying your target market. So I have designed this in a little bit of a workshop. So hopefully you have a pen and paper handy to take some notes. So what I would like you to do is I'm going to pause for a minute or two, and I'm going to get you to please identify one of your target markets within your business. Now, I completely understand you likely have more than one that you focus on, but for the purposes of this activity, I'd like you to pick just one. And I'd like you to identify who one of your target markets are. And any of you who've heard me speak before know that I often say specific is terrific, I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again. I want you to be as specific as possible. For example, if your business has a focus on aligning with kind of more of a business services, consider the industries that you'd like to align with for your target market. Is there a specific location that you're focusing on? Is there a specific company size that you'd like to be connected with? Does revenue come into question? Is there a particular department that you would like an introduction to? Include all of that when you're identifying your target market. If your target market is more in the personal services side of things, so if it's consumers that you're looking to align with, let us know demographics. So age, gender, income, where do they live? What are their hobbies? Any sort of defining characteristics that can help us as your fellow referral partners identify who those target markets are. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute, which many of you know that's hard for me to do. I'll stop talking and I'll get you to take quick notes on who your target markets are. Hopefully you've all had an opportunity to do that. So now that you've identified who your target markets are, the next question then becomes who else is looking to meet your target markets. So now that you've identified that, give some consideration to the other businesses, perhaps it's fellow chapter members. I'd like you to focus a little bit on individuals who you don't yet have an established referral relationship with. Think about those businesses that are also looking to meet your target markets. For example, if you're a real estate lawyer, chances are real estate agents are looking to meet your target markets as well. So think about who those businesses are that you can align with. I do encourage you to try and come up with an outside the box idea. So someone that doesn't traditionally, that we wouldn't traditionally associate with your business or with someone that you would align with. For example, if we have a chiropractor who focuses on helping individuals, if his target market is new parents between the ages of 25 to 35, we might say, okay, that's fantastic. So new parents in that age range, but who else do those individuals want to meet? An outside the box idea might be a luxury car dealership or a car dealership because that family needs a vehicle. And we may not think, well, how does a chiropractor connect with a car dealership? It's an outside the box idea because we know that that car dealership has conversations with families and may be able to introduce them to that ideal client for the chiropractor. So I use that as an example because I'd like you to come up with what that looks like for your own business. Outside the box ideas of who we can connect you with. In other words, who else is doing business with the people that you want to meet. Once you've identified that, the next question is, I know who I need on my power team. What happens next? Once you've figured out who those businesses are that are also doing business with your ideal clients, what is the next step? And that is where we start to make those connections. So social media right now, because we're in an online context, has become a really great way for us to be able to leverage our connections that we A, already have, or B, are looking to make. Many of us on our social media platforms, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, we have a lot of connections that we have, but we may not necessarily have active connections with those individuals. They may be a bit more passive. You may follow individuals, but you may not be having conversations with them yet. So here are some strategies that I'd recommend that you'd be able to leverage in order to start to have those conversations. Because here's the thing, business people across the board right now, no matter where you are, we are actively looking for online networking opportunities right now, given the circumstances. So if you're in Canada, we're at different stages of opening and reopening. At the end of the day, we're not back to our in-person meetings that we are traditionally used to. So we know that business individuals are looking for those connections. But guess what? In our BNI chapters, we're networking every single week. We share referral opportunities every single week, and we're creating a growth culture every single week. BNI Online is here for all of us, and it's here for our business success. So all we need to do is let business people know what we're doing and the magic that we work within our chapter meetings each week to share in that. So how do you start to have those conversations when it comes to inviting in an online environment? I'm going to start with LinkedIn. I know Al Tepper just did a phenomenal workshop on LinkedIn, so I'm going to touch on this. Here's the reason why I prefer LinkedIn. I do want you to be mindful, a lot of businesses, and some of your businesses, you may outsource management of your social media pages to other individuals. You may have someone that handles your posts and that handles your inbox on, say, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. A lot of businesses set up business pages on those platforms as well. What I like about LinkedIn is if I identify the individual or the person that I want to connect with, I can easily go find their profile on LinkedIn, and I'm more likely to be having a conversation with that individual rather than one of 3 or 4 people who might be managing an Instagram account. If you are looking to connect via Instagram or Facebook, I'm not saying don't do it. I personally use Instagram quite a bit. Takes a little bit more strategy to figure out how to actually speak to one of the decision makers at the business, but I'll share that with you. So that's the reason why I'm going to be focusing in on LinkedIn a little bit today. So one of the things that I would recommend is if you, let's say business coach is on your list. This is an example that I did not long ago. So if I search up business coach on LinkedIn, you're able to narrow down your search based on the geography. So determine where that individual is that you want to connect with. Because business coaches, if I'm just outside of Toronto, Ontario right now, it's really not going to be benefits to me to meet a business coach in Alberta, right? It geographically it doesn't make sense from a business perspective. You may want to network on it and not necessarily invite those individuals to BNI, but you may want to connect outside of your chapters with individuals. So just keep this in mind that geography is something you can search by. So what I did was I did a quick search for business coach, and then I narrowed down the search to the locations. Once you do that, you'll have a series of connections that do come up. Now, I personally reach out to the individuals that are first or second level connections. Anything more beyond that, they're a little bit more further removed for me. And I personally find it more tricky to make a connection to those individuals. So what I then do is I send a connection request. Once I've narrowed down the location, let's say that Julie is the individual that I want to connect with. I also see Julie knows a lot of other individuals who we have mutually, that we're mutual acquaintances of. Whether or not it's a LinkedIn acquaintance or an in-person acquaintance, I'm not going to be sure of that until I initiate the conversation. So what I do is I click on connect and I add a personal note. I'll say something to the effect of, "Hi, Julie, looking forward to connecting with you. It looks as though we both know Allison. Small world. Can't wait to learn more about your business." And I sign it off with my name. I use that approach because it makes it personalized, and Julie knows it's not a robot behind the scenes sending that message. So you can use that approach on other social media platforms as well. For example, if you're doing that on something like Instagram, you can follow a business, and when they approve you or when you have that follow, you can send them a quick note to say, "Thanks for connecting." Comment on something from their profile so they know that you're actually taking the time to look through it and not just kind of copy and paste a message. Let them make it personal. Let them know that you are looking at their information and you want to get to know more. Then what I do is I personally have an approach where I follow up within a series of a couple of days. So many of us, all of us, I think, have heard the saying, "the fortune is in the follow-up." It really is when it comes to connecting to individuals, because you're looking to build your visibility, credibility, and profitability online. And so what you'll want to do is follow through with the conversations and continue those discussions. So what I do is a day after that individual has connected with me, I will respond to them and I'll say, "Hey, I see that, for the coach, for example, I see that you focus on supporting small to medium businesses with, who have that established growth. That's intriguing. Tell me more." I'm not going in with a sell. I'm looking to learn more about that person's business. Because let me ask you this, how many of you here today absolutely love getting sold to on a regular basis? Look at all those shaking heads. No hands going up. Not if we don't enjoy getting sold to. Our guards get put up a little bit, our back goes up a little bit when individuals try to sell to us. So that's why I think it's really important when you do reach out to these individuals on the platforms that you're using, make it work for you, make it personal, but don't go in with a sell. Always go in looking to build that relationship. The third step is once I've initiated that conversation and I've had a conversation, had a couple of messages go back and forth, what I'll then do is there will come a point where I will send the invitation, usually either the fourth or fifth interaction, and I'll say, "I'm part of an exclusive network of successful business owners who believe in helping each other grow. We expect to generate $1 million in business this year. We're currently seeking professionals in the business coaching category that we can introduce ourselves to and who we can learn more about. Would you like to come out to my chapter meeting? And then I extend the invitation. I personalize that message though to make sure it's not, a copy and paste, but I extend that invitation because when you have business people who are looking for connectivity and you offer them an opportunity to meet other great individuals, that's what will be able to push you ahead to the next level. So I see that Jesse's asked for the wording in the chat. I'm going to put a sample in here. Please feel free to modify the invitation based on basically make it yours. So I'm just going to put that. As much as I like to think I can multitask, I can't copy and paste at the same time. So I've got that in the chat for you. Again, modify it and make it yours. I have a couple other one-liners that I'm going to be sharing as well. So biggest thing here, make sure you're following up because it's not going to be of value for me if I reach out to Janet, make a connection, and then I drop the conversation, right? We're not going to be able to build a relationship that way or like even dive deeper into any conversation if it just ends after that initial connection request. So when you are connecting with individuals, make sure that you are following up and following through on those conversations because that's what will make them more fruitful and allow you to dive deeper into those business relationships. I shared the screenshot of LinkedIn. You can do a very similar approach on Facebook. If you do a quick search, for example, if you search for business coaches in Mississauga or HR consultants in Hamilton, do a quick search and that will pull up a series of either individuals or businesses. If it's a business page that comes up, I recommend poking around a little bit to see if you can find information on who the business owners are. I personally find it more valuable to make connections to the business owners rather than a business page itself. If you don't get a response from the individual, sometimes it happens. I recommend moving on to the next. Biggest thing here though is find a technique that works for you. I wouldn't recommend trying to do this on all 3 major platforms all at once unless you're able to commit the time because this will take time. And I'm going to be really honest with you. One of the best strategies that I've found that works for me, I actually have time blocked off every single day to prospect on LinkedIn. And then where I can, I may throw in a little bit of Instagram, but if I don't have it on my calendar, it's not happening. So when it comes to many of us talk about IPAs, income producing activities. These types of things, social media sometimes falls or gets put onto the back burner, but it is an income producing activity. When you do it consistently and have that strategy in place that works for you, that's what's going to turn it into a moneymaker for you and allow you to build deeper relationships. So schedule in that time, maybe start with 15 minutes, maybe start with half an hour, put that time into your calendar so that you're able to really reach out. And whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, those are all great. I would also recommend to have a look through your contacts on your phone. Have a look at some names that are familiar who you haven't reached out to recently and give them a call. Those of you who still have a Rolodex on your desk, I'm one of them. Go through the Rolodex, have a look at the business cards, have a look to see who you can connect with and reach out. You've got those connections. It's a matter of reaching out to say hello and to form those relationships. Once you have reached out and you're at the point where you are ready to extend an invitation, here are some other strategies or approaches that you may be able to say. Are you looking to grow your business? You could also say, are you looking for a supportive group of businesses or business people to help your business stay or become stronger? Or you could say, are you interested in generating consistent business referrals? Or is the question, would you like to see the system that I use to get consistent business referrals? And here's a personal favorite of mine. I'm going to leave this on the screen so you can screenshot it or take a picture. This is the one that I find works best for me every single time. And that is, would you like to meet a great group of business people who also happen to refer business to me? All of these questions have the what's in it for them hook. And when you're speaking to business individuals who are looking to grow their business and who are looking for connectivity, if you say to them, why don't you come check out my BNI meeting? Because this is a great group of business people that I meet with. Why not extend that invitation out to them? They're hard pressed to say no when you put it out that way, right? Come meet my people. And it really allows you to dive deep into that relationship. So couple things from a BNI perspective, if you are inviting these individuals out to your chapter meeting and you successfully get that invite, one thing that I'd recommend, please make sure you send the registration link, get that individual registered. either sending them the link to your chapter or register them via your app. Really super easy. Once it's done, they'll get the automatic reminders, they'll get the Zoom link, and you know that they'll be at your chapter meeting, because that's their opportunity to meet all of your crew, so to speak, your inner circle of individuals who support your business growth and who can support others' business growth. So just as we wrap up, I do want to share something that Ivan Meisner, some results from a survey he did. He put out a question on social media and said, is inviting online harder or easier? And here are some of the responses that he got. It's more convenient and it saves time. It's easier for introverts. There's no travel or meal costs. It's less of a time commitment. So these are things that visitors are telling us. Some other things that we've heard, you don't have to find childcare to go to a BNI virtual meeting. And some chapters even shared that they've had visitors every single week since we've been online. Many of us have been online we all went online in March of 2020. Some of us are still online. That is significant, having that regular flow of visitors. And often it's just extending that invitation. I mentioned earlier, follow-up is really important. So when you do invite an individual, please do make sure you're following up to ensure that they're going to be there. I would recommend don't reopen the invitation and say, so David, are you still able to attend the meeting next week? Frame it in a way of, hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing you at our meeting tomorrow. So they know that they're expected and you're looking forward to that visit from them. So follow up, because that's huge. And many of you will hear me say follow up, follow back, and follow through. But that's the biggest thing. If you don't have that follow up scheduled to make sure that you're connecting, it often easily falls off. So now that you've got your list of who you would like to have on your power teams and how to invite them, the next step would be to invite those individuals out to your chapter meetings. So really, to maximize your networking efforts, give some more thought to your ideal clients. And that target market exercise that we went through, try that for another one of your target markets, because chances are the businesses looking to meet those target markets are very different. So give some thought to that. Identify the other individuals and other businesses who want to meet those ideal clients and target markets of yours. And the next step is to establish the business relationships. Establish those referral relationships by initiating the conversations on social media, finding the platform that works for you, and just sending those messages and following up and following through, and encouraging them to visit your BNI chapter. Any questions at all? I think we've got a minute or two for questions, right, Holly? Okay.
Yep, so we have about 3 minutes left. Thank you so much for sharing that information. It was really helpful. And I like how you made it easy for us. So you walked us through step by step, and I have my list here of business owners that I can go out and reach out to and chat with them and connect with them. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for the feedback, Holly.
Yeah.
So I will drop my information in the chat. If you have any questions, please definitely feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. One of the things that I find is a conversation about power teams and thinking about who you want on it. It's not like we've been talking for about half an hour. It's not something that can be done in half an hour. It really is something that you'll be going about the course of the rest of your day. You'll be making dinner later this evening and you'll think, oh, that's someone that I can have on my power team. That's someone else that I can add. And you'll be able to add to it, not just today, but for the days and weeks to come. So definitely revisit it, add to your list, send out those invites. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. My contact info is in the chat. And here's just one final thought that I want to leave you with. Business people need you right now. They need BNI and they need connectivity now more than ever. So let's stop keeping BNI online, our best kept networking secret, and let's make it the best known business marketing program in town. And with that, I thank you so much. And thank you so much, Holly, for your help today. It's been fantastic to have you as our Zoom Jedi.
And so we just had one question pop up in the chat.
Yes.
Is it okay to have more than one power team?
You may choose to align with a couple different power teams, but I'm going to recommend to focus on really strengthening one. So think about which one would generate more referrals for you and that you would be able to generate more referrals for. And that's the one that you'll really want to strengthen over time. Because you're absolutely right. There may be a couple, depending on your target markets, that you may be able to align with. Really focus on harvesting the relationships in one though.